Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy to have you around. Find out more about those sponsors. Our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, will have all those listed under the Season 9 tab at the top of the page. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Mike McGrath is a radio show host and gardening guru. He answers tough and regular gardening questions for the masses. Welcome to the program, Mike.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, happy to have you. I'm glad you've taken time out of your busy schedule, not only to educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners.
All right, before we proceed, may I say that my radio show is You Bet Your Garden, which is what you do if you follow my advice. And it's an NPR syndicated show that's available across the country on terrestrial radio and podcasts all over the place. And you can find it at WDIY for doityourself.org.
Well, how did you become a radio host? Where did that journey begin for you? And was your goal always to be about gardening, or did that you fall into that?
Radio host, I was 17, graduated high school, went into Temple and chose communications, which was radio, TV, film at the time. I don't even know if Garrison Keillor was on the air, but I wanted to be the next Garrison Keillor. And I did most of my work on radio, and then in a weird way, I wound up being on TV almost as much as I was on radio. I had no gardening interest. I did not grow up with gardening. I grew up in a row home with concrete all around. The nearest park was 3 miles away. But when I was in my late 20s, I was thinking, it's time for me to stop running around and look for, quote, D1. And I found her at a party. Oh, my God. It was like instant. It was like Hollywood. We locked eyes, and that was it. And all she wanted was somebody who could move her out to the country and grow raspberries. And being totally infatuated, I said, I can do that. And I got home that night and called a friend of mine, Gordon Smith, a fabulous photographer who took the pictures for my coffee table book, Kitchen Garden A to Z, that was published by Abrams years ago. And he laughed and said, "You're so lucky. Raspberries just grow themselves." And then it was off to the races.
Are you still with this wonderful woman?
She passed away from ALS in 2017, the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody, much less me.
But you had a wonderful life with her.
35 good years.
Very few people can say that nowadays. They've been with the same woman for that many years and loved her.
Oh, God. It was mutual. When we first decided to get married, we made an agreement that the relationship would be 60-60. Each person would give 10% more than normal. And that seemed to be a good way to work it.
Yeah. Well, whenever you got into the gardening and the radio talk, you've talked to a lot of people about a lot of mistakes that they've made in the garden. What have you found to be the most common mistake people make when trying to grow their vegetables, and what is the answer to correct that?
Well, the biggest mistake they use is chemical fertilizers. And especially I like to go on a rant against 10-10-10, which is promoted as a balanced fertilizer, except that there's no plant in the universe that wants equal amounts of N, P, and K. The perfect fertilizer would probably be around a 3-5-2 or something like that.
Right.
That would be balanced.
Yeah, we see, 10-10-10 or triple 20 or, whatever.
Oh God, triple 20, you might as well start throwing bombs into your garden, because that's what you're doing. I mean, you guys know these are all leftover explosives from World War II.
Right.
So you grow above ground potatoes. Can you tell us about that process and how one would go about doing the same?
It's really simple. If you look up online the Lehigh compost bin, which was developed by the founder of organic gardening, J.I. Rodale, in association with engineers at Lehigh University, which is close to where Rodale was founded. And it's one of these things, I got to figure out how you explain this, but there's a slat, there's an opening, there's a slat, there's an opening, there's a slat, there's an opening. So you fill up the bottom, say, third with dirt because you need the most space for growing at the lowest point. And then you plant your seed potatoes with the eye pointing out at the middle of each quadrant. So the greens, as they develop, will grow out the slat. And then you put in more dirt or compost, or my personal recommendation would be like 40% compost, 40% screened, high quality topsoil, not junk, and 20% perlite to make it nice and light for the potatoes to grow easily in. And then when you get to the right height, you put in another run of potatoes, again, sticking them in the middle, right at the line where they go outside so the greenery can grow out there. And then you fill it all up to the top and you put 4 more potatoes on the, I'm tempted to call them the corners, but obviously they're not the corners, they're the middles. And then I always like to plant one in the dead middle at top, then throw on more soil. And that one's for good luck.
I see. And I'm sure you've seen and we've seen during the pandemic, there was a whole influx of new gardeners and some of them have dwindled off. But what is the best advice you can give to a new gardener?
Talk to other gardeners. People who've been doing it for years and years. Even if you have the room at home, your first year, get a plot in a community garden or a shared garden with a friend where you'll do half the work and you'll be off and running. When I started as editor of Organic Gardening magazine in 1990, actually being known to the public, the information was all over the place. It was old wives' tales. It was stupid stuff like, oh, plant potatoes in a hill. Excuse me. Potatoes are never supposed to be exposed to the sun. Planting them in a hill increases the odds dramatically of them being exposed to the sun. Why don't you plant them instead in nice, deep, loose, workable soil, and you won't keep getting those green potatoes that are toxic.
Right. And that's the thing. And it's kind of, it made it even worse now with the internet, because back then you just kind of word of mouth in the 90s. Now these people, they put it on the internet because they want lots of clicks and revenue, and they'll say pretty much anything that they want to in order to get you to click on their video.
12 garden hacks that will grow you greater tomatoes.
Uh-huh.
And to me, that means there's 12 hacks writing. I mean, people who don't know what they're talking about.
Right. Or like
when I started back in 1990, everything was geared toward chemicals. There were very few organic advocates. In fact, surveys showed that most of organic readers use Miracle-Gro. And at one point, I got my revenge. About 3 years in as editor of Organic Gardening, Miracle-Gro started ads, which were technically true, the favorite fertilizer of organic gardenings. So I was in charge of the trademark of the word organic gardening, which J.I. Rodale had coined. And I called them out on it. The government got down on them. They had to stop the ads. And that's also the time where, like, I got up from my desk and went, okay, this is why I'm here.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So that's...
Oh, by the way, finishing up the potato thing, at the end of the season, you just lift the compost bin up, and then you sort through it. All the potatoes are above ground.
That's a really cool method. So if someone feels the potting soil they have is not fertile enough and the plants are suffering, should they replace all of it next season? Anything they can do now to save it? This is actually a problem I'm kind of having, not with vegetables, but with some flowers on my porch. They're just not doing well.
I just did a question of the week on this. Because what do you do with your old potting soil? I've been at this game for 30 years, so I have heirloom potting soil. And what I tell people to do, which is what I do myself, we were doing it today, is you empty out a bunch of your containers that have potting soil in them. You mix in some perlite, and then you mix in a good amount of compost and or worm castings, and then you use it again.
Okay.
So if you're
easy, it's easy peasy.
So if your potting soil is maybe questionable and you're realizing it
why is it questionable?
My sunflowers are just not doing well. I have some that I started from seed, I have some that reseeded, and then I have some that I just planted straight into the soil.
And they're in containers.
Yeah, they're in a big container.
In Wisconsin.
Right, yes.
So, I mean, you have a very short season that's miserable in the summer.
Right.
Arctic in the winter. And it is challenging. Although I have found that the more challenging the locale, the more intense gardeners are about it. But if you're growing them just in potting soil year after year, yeah, you're going to be using up the nutrients. A simple way around that is, especially if you make your own compost, because I have 8 different composting systems going, and I always have one that's finished. You can just top dress the containers with fresh compost, and every time it rains, your roots will get compost tea.
There you go. Well, Mike, we've really enjoyed the time we've had with you. How can people find you, find your show, and if they have questions, how can they get a hold of you?
If they simply type "You Bet Your Garden," all words, no funny stuff, into their search engine, they'll get a lot. I would also urge people to visit the You Bet Your Garden Facebook page, where we post new stuff every day. We have dynamite conversations between gardeners, and I've actually used some of those conversations to spark a question of the week or an interview or something like that. And if you go to WDIY, wdoityourself.org, because we're NPR, everything's an org, which stands for organic, by the way. You'll find me very easy. And the final thing I would say is the show's email is youbetyourgarden, all words spelled out in English, 1@gmail.com. Do you know how hard it was to get a 1?
It's a challenge to do a lot of things online that you want to have done correctly.
But a final word, gardeners out there, relax. remember that, or know that farmers make a profit once they harvest 55% of the crop they planted. So you can't agonize over the losses. If you want perfection every year, take up woodworking, because gardening is not for you.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, we thank you so much for your time, your inspiration, and your knowledge. Thank you so much for that, sir.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.